Artemis. Father Zeus was by no means an attentive parent. He had so many children in so many different circumstances, he could scarcely keep them all in mind. However, he was not permitted to forget Leto's children. They were too beautiful, and beauty was the quality he found most attractive. As he looked down from Olympus, their faces seemed to blaze from among all the children on earth. It seemed to him that they cast their own light, these twins, each one different. Apollo a ruddy light, Artemis a silver light, and he knew that they were true godlings and must be brought to Olympus. He sent for them on their 3rd birthday. He had Hephaestus make Apollo a golden bow and a quiver of golden arrows that could never be emptied, and a golden chariot drawn by golden ponies. But he withheld Artemis's gifts. He preferred her, and he wanted her to ask him for things. He took her on his lap and said, "And what gifts would you fancy, little maid?" She said, "I wish to be your maiden, always, never a woman. And I want many names in case I get bored with one. I want a bow and arrow too, but silver, not gold. I want an embroidered deerskin tunic short enough to run in. I need 50 ocean nymphs to sing for me and 20 wood nymphs to hunt with me. And I want a pack of hounds, please. Fierce, swift ones. I want the mountains for my special places. And one city. One will be enough. I don't like cities." She reached up and played with his beard and smiled at him. "Yes? May I have all these things? May I?" Zeus answered, "For a child like you, it is worthwhile braving Hera's wrath once in a while. You shall have more than you ask for. You shall have the gift of eternal chastity, and also the gift of changing your mind about it at any time, which will help you not to want to. And finally, the greatest gift of all, you shall go out and choose your own gifts so that they will have a special value." She kissed him and whispered her thanks into his ear, and then went running off to choose her gifts. She went to the woods and to the river and to the ocean stream, and selected the most beautiful nymphs for her court. She visited Hephaestus in his smoking smithy inside the mountain, and said, "I've come for my bow, a silver one, please." He said, "Silver is more difficult to work than gold. It needs cool light. It should be made under water. You must go deep beneath the sea off the island of Lipara, where my Cyclops are making a horse trough for Poseidon, who thinks of nothing but horses these days." So Artemis and her nymphs swam underwater to where the Cyclops were hammering at a great trough. The nymphs were frightened at the sight of the huge, one-eyed, scowling brutes, and they hated the noise of the hammering. But Artemis jumped up on the forge and said, "I come with a message from Hephaestus. He bids you put aside this horse trough and make me a silver bow and a quiver of silver arrows, which will fill again as soon as it is empty. If you do this, I shall give you the first game I shoot." The Cyclops, who were very greedy and tired of working on the horse trough, agreed. When they had finished her bow, she thanked them very prettily, but when their leader, Brontes, tried to take her on his knee, she tore a great handful of hair from his chest. He put her down quickly and went away cursing. Holding her silver bow high, screaming with joy, she raced across field and valley and hill, followed by her nymphs, who streamed after her with flashing knees and floating hair, laughing and singing. She came to Arcadia, where Pan was feeding his hounds. "Oh, Pan," she cried, "oh, little king of the wood, my favorite cousin, please give me some of your dogs, the best ones, please." "And what will you give me in return?" he said, looking at the nymphs. "Choose," she said, "but I should warn you, cousin, that like me, they have taken an unbreakable vow of chastity." "Never mind," said Pan, "keep them. What dogs do you fancy?" "That one, and that one, and that one," she cried, "and this one, and I must have him, and him." He gave her his 10 best dogs. 3 of them were huge black and white hounds, able to catch a live lion and drag it back to the hunter. The others were lean white deerhounds. Any one of them could outrun a stag. Artemis was wild to try out her new gifts. She sent her white hounds racing after 2 deer, bidding them bring back the animals unharmed. She harnessed the deer to her silver chariot and drove away. She saw a tree which had been struck by lightning. It was still smoldering. She had her nymphs break pine branches and thrust them into the cinders, for night was coming and she wanted light to shoot by. She was too impatient to wait for dawn. 4 times she shot her silver bow. First she split a pine tree, then an olive tree. Then she shot a wild boar. Lastly, she shot an arrow into a city of unjust men, and the arrow pierced all of them, never ceasing its flight till they were all dead. And the people, seeing her ride over the mountains, wielding her silver bow, followed by the maidens and their torches, called her the goddess of the moon. Some called her the maiden of the silver bow. Others called her lady of the wild things. Some called her the huntress. Others simply the maiden. And so she had her last gift, many names. She let no man approach her. Once a young man named Actaeon glimpsed her bathing in a stream. She was so beautiful he could not bear to go away, but hid there watching. She saw him and immediately changed him into a stag. Then she whistled up her hounds, who tore him to pieces. She tried to impose the same rule upon her nymphs, which was difficult. Zeus himself seduced one of the most beautiful, named Callisto. When Artemis learned of this, she changed Callisto into a she-bear and whistled to her dogs. They came leaping and howling and would have torn the bear to pieces too. But Zeus happened to notice what was going on. He caught Callisto up and set her among the stars, still in her bear shape, so that Hera would not be suspicious. Once Artemis found her vow difficult to keep. But that is another story.